Welcome to Clariot Noir. The following recordings are based on real events in Bridal Veil Lake. Stories come directly from the people who have experienced them. Listener discretion is advised.
The Circle by Tabitha Eckhart. I'm an American who used to visit Bridal Veil Lake regularly to play the casinos. I was so regular, in fact, that the staff at a lot of the joints knew my name and I'd get free drinks. Too many free drinks. If I was winning, I drank. If I was losing, I drank. And if I had lost everything, I definitely tried to drink myself right out of living. It was after a real rough night that I staggered away from the bar, one shoe on, one shoe in hand, with the intention of going to my hotel room to find something valuable enough to pawn off. I was too ass backward and inside out, though, and I got lost on Tour Hill. If you know Tour Hill, you know just how fucking drunk I was. Tour Hill is one street, or it used to be, with two directions. Up to the hill, towards the hotels and the motels, and down towards the lake. The casinos and the other attractions were shouting at you all the way in between, which is where I had started. That night, I kept finding my way back at the Bride, staring at the falling water across the lake. I thought about trying to swim there. I had been an athlete, a swimmer, and I fell a nose short of going to the Olympics. Fucking Carla. It was January, and while there wasn't a ton of snow, that old man Canadian winter cut through the edges of my drunkenness. Even fully lit, I knew it was cold and I would freeze to death or drown if I got in the water. No matter how strong I used to be, I wasn't at my peak anymore. I was obviously rolling around at the bottom of some metaphorical ditch with, again, one shoe on and one shoe off. What a little fucking pissant I was. Total loser. Anyway, I turned away from the lake and I started walking again, trying to outpace my thoughts of suicide. I kept looking back, using the receding water as a guide, which did not work to help me find my hotel. You know. The big one with the huge light up sign, like 30 stories high. Anyway, the neighborhood I ended up in was really unfamiliar and dark. A row of old houses appeared vacant across the soccer field of an old high school. My mouth agape, no doubt, I barely noticed that a car was rolling up beside me.
Hey.
Some douchebag said as he leaned out of the car, leering at me. I couldn't tell you what he really looked like, but I can tell you I could have clocked him right there and then.
Need a ride home there, eh?
I didn't know who else was in the car. There was one other person, a woman. I heard them both laughing to each other at me. No thanks, buddy. I was trying to play him off like he was the asshole and that I was way too good for him. I was also looking for a place to run in case shit went down and they were psychopathic murderers on the hunt. There was a building behind me. It turned out to be the Scout House, which I knew nothing about at the time, just some empty rundown house. Yeah, there would be no crowd of bystanders there to help ward off these potential fucking psychos, but at least I would be able to hide. I swear I thought I saw one light on from within. At that moment, it was a house and somebody was there. I veered off toward the place, purposefully, like I lived there.
Oh, whoa, girl.
The guy hanging out of the passenger window said,
Don't go over there. Come on, we'll give you a lift. For real.
I scanned the building for the door, and as I got closer, still I saw no entrance. It was total black there, so the psychos wouldn't know that I was lost. I felt around with my hands as I got closer, and the window seemed to be covered with plywood. That should have tipped me off, right? The noise of car doors opening and closing came from behind. Then I heard shoes on the gravel. I started to panic just as I found a door handle and pulled. They kept calling out to me, worried now, not laughing anymore. They called out even as I shut the door quietly behind me. It was just as dark inside as it was out. If there had been a light before, it was gone now. I held onto the door handle, pulling it closed against what I expect to be two people trying to pull it open from the other side. But they didn't, and time passed. And there I was, pulling tight on the door handle, bracing for the pull, but it never came. After a time of quiet, I thought to open the door a little bit and sneak a peek through, but I couldn't open it. Had I locked it? I tried a few things. I wiggled my fingers around, searching for locks, jiggling the knob, whatever, and it wasn't happening. So I turned inward into the building. Hello? Yeah, it was so very suitable for most horror movies, I know. The drunk girl gets got pretty early on, for sure. And I knew it then too, believe me. I heard what sounded like muffled whimpering. Is someone there? More whimpering, and then another noise I didn't recognize, like a dull impact against something dense enough to absorb sound. I pulled my phone out of my stupid little purse and turned on the flashlight. I caught a glimpse of something horrible through a doorway, and my idiot hand dropped the phone like I'd just been drowning in smash burger. What little I had seen looked like a person on a chair inside a bathtub. A bathtub? Somebody was with him too. I write somebody because it had to be somebody, right? It couldn't be a monster like I thought I had saw. Some like asymmetrical horror, not a normal shape. The word inhuman comes to mind. And this image seared into my brain and it made me throw up all over my phone. I could hear whimpering again when I finished my first round of purging. I picked up my chunky, wet, foul smelling phone and shone the light into the room again. There was nothing there but an empty chair draped in ropes? Ropes? Okay, also weird, but not torturous and inhuman. Okay. So I've imagined or I've hallucinated this shit. I thought again about leaving, but I didn't know where I was and I needed a minute to think. Oh, and there's another round of puking. So here we go. And then I had to steady myself. And then I was spitting up spit and bile, awaiting round 3. And I staggered into the bathroom. And I leaned into the bathtub, one hand on the chair. And I guess I must have crumpled right into the chair even. Through some squirming and more puking, at some point, I guess I looked up. And I saw a painted circle on the wall across from the chair, at the back of the shower. It's very much like a rough circle of your logo, in fact. Your Clarion Noir logo is actually really creeping me out. When I looked at it on the wall, I knew it was fucking evil. Did you see it too? And I thought, why the fuck is this guy thinking that this is a cool graphic? I think you're being purposefully vague, and you know more about this weird shit than you let on. But anyway, that night, I left the scout house soon after I saw that, and by that point, I was sober enough to call a cab. Good news for me, I took all this shit as a turning point. I changed my life after that brush with evil, and I put as much distance between myself and that circle of evil as possible. But what the fuck did you do? Seems like you're calling it right to you, like you're even part of it. Tell me I'm wrong.